Dungeons and
we are
Dragons is
not
a game
currently
you can play
playing.
for free.
Yeah. Oh, for free. Sometimes.
You can play
You
it
can
for
play
free.
for free if you pirate it.
Exactly.
And you should.
Arg.
And you
I'm
should.
gonna. Hey guys, what if I did crime?
Crime.
Yes.
Yes.
I
I
encourage
mean,
it.
yeah.
That's
What
That goes without
crime?
saying, but
Isn't that what you've been doing for the past, 20 minutes?
With the, yeah, shut up, please.
No,
I'm in
sorry,
the
that wasn't-
manifold. I'm in the manifold pants. You can't be mean to me.
the manifold pants. Dungeons, Dragons, also.
I did start recording, so we can start whenever.
Oh, no!
Recap. I wasn't here. It's not my job.
I wasn't here either, so...
I don't remember, except
Oh, we're off to a good
Actually, I
start
think-
then.
Great work, team.
Good work,
Wait,
everyone.
no,
Sorry.
you're late, I think.
I
And Alex had the conversation with Julius. I think we're good to not remember because we weren't here.
I can do a little bit of a recap. I think I have some notes. I don't have a lot though. So
I can't give names, but I can give at least a vague overview of things. Like, I cannot remember the name of the person that X is impersonating right now.
it is. Shit, where is it?
Oh fuck! What name did I make up? Let me go see. Wrote it down.
Oh, I didn't write it down.
Oren, that's right.
Okay.
Dang it, I didn't write down the name of the person.
With Rivetta going, okay, can we do the thing tomorrow? She agrees, meets up with Ix and Nagi. They swing via the house of the poor bastard that Ix is impersonating, who has had apparently a rather dramatic plumbing mishap. And I, as Joe, am curious what Rivetta did to pull that off. Because it was full, burst pipe and flooding and cussing at it and... so that Ix could get a bit of a sense for voice. Then they went in, this was at fuck off AM, because cleaner shifts. I say fuck off AM, but I think it was at 7 in the morning, which is still an incorrect time, but... Anyway, so they go in, manage to get around the whole don't have a uniform thing. Because I'm pretty sure that the person at the desk is not paid enough to ask questions more than... They poke around a little bit. They don't find very much. Because both of them rolled balls. They did, however, see...
Excuse me.
Naoki, Nathaniel's bodyguard, very briefly. Fairly early in, I think, doing breakfast.
Doing lunch.
Okay, doing lunch. So that means that they're probably actually fairly soon going to be able to get access to Inoue's rooms. Yeah, they briefly saw Naoki. The passage across into that had a small, possibly magical, line across the door, and above the door there was a trapdoor. They're going to be poking around in Inoue's office in Inoue's quarters when she goes to lunch, possibly planning to talk to her. And then the rest of us chocolate folks went to go follow up on the lead that the kids gave us. Went in. There was actually quite a drop, particularly for kidlets. There was a drop enough that even Alex kind of somewhat noticed it. We went down the tunnel they told us about, and then found that it had caved in. So we were a bit all of that digging around for...
There was also There was also a period last night in which we left room for Granny's Politics 101.
Oh. Do we want to do Politics 101 now?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Politics
Are we
with
gonna-
Grandma.
Are we
Yes,
kicking
so-
off with Politics
Politics
101?
101 because we would have wanted to do planning for how we're going to handle this.
We can Politics 101 right now if that's what you guys want to do.
We can retcon that in. Yes.
Okay, let me real quick open up a Google Doc that I had not had open previously.
Oh,
Give me 1 second.
Oh, Granny's fucking lesson plan?
Mhm.
Yes, of Granny's fucking lesson plan. You don't think I'm gonna do this improv, do you?
No, I know. It was mostly complimentary. Parker, should I add an inspiration?
Yes.
Thank you.
one of these days I need to do recap because I don't have inspiration left and Julius is a lost cause.
Okay.
God
Here
knows
we-
Julius hates it.
Yeah.
Boy.
So, Granny having gathered everyone up for a little fun lesson plan she calls Politics 101. What sort of... Alright, so I'm not sure how many of you are really from the area in any useful sense, considering, knowing local history or any of that. Does anybody know any local history at all, or is it a full...
Oh, any kind
I don't
of
even go
history.
here.
Julius raises his hand a little.
Well, yes, Julius, I'd hoped that you would. I do say I am delighted to know that I was correct in hoping so.
I mean, I only know a little bit. It's been 3 years since I've been back here, so.
Well, yeah, you probably still know the 200 years
Broad
ago.
stroke.
200 years ago, there was a war. Lovely thing. 75 years ago, there was a second war. I'm trying to slim this down as much as possible. 75 years ago, there was a second war and the reunification of northern and southern Chalass. And we don't need to get into all the reasons for the war or the specifics of any treaties or any political groups necessarily.
Okay, good, because that sounds boring.
Yes, we'll do sort of the gentle. Well, all this to say, some people are in favor of the North and South being unified, and some people are rather opposed to it. And that has quite some bearing on, today's current politics, which are, in fact, very, very relevant to what we're trying to do here. So, 75 years ago, when the reunification happened, Horotari is, of course, as you all know, glance at Nin and Nagi, decide they probably don't actually know. We are in southern Chalass right now. In case, just to keep everybody fully updated. When they negotiated a treaty for reunification, this became the southern state, and Horotari is, the capital of such. And when they reunited... Joe, don't critique Granny's political stance, I'll get distracted.
Sorry.
I'll get distracted, I have to stay in the zone.
Okay.
The Temple of Lede was very strictly in the treaty not to be interfered with by any government. That is what they bargained for, and that's what they got. So the Sunrise Council, such as it is, can't interfere with anything currently going on with the temple. The best they could do was to suggest suitors, say, for the High Priestess, and obviously that happened. And we now have our
Wait,
current situation.
Council are Horotari, not the Northern Chalass.
Correct. The Sunrise Council is of Horotari.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a train right now, guys. So if you can hear that, I'm very sorry.
I don't think.
It's okay.
So the Sunrise Council can't actually interfere with the temple any more than they already did. or through any official channels. Make of that what you will. There are people on the Sunrise Council who are they're all in favor of unification, obviously. But some are more moderate than others. Some are quite, I don't want to toss about big words like imperialist and, anything of that nature, but certainly if there were a word equivalent to that I could use, I would use it. As it is, I'm just going to call it imperialist. There are certain people on the council who are less good people. In fact, I would call them quite, terrible monsters, criminals, and the like. But not, I wouldn't really say that. Just theoretically, someone might say that about them,
Shitty fucking
there are some
politicians.
Thank you, Dan.
You're
There are
welcome.
some people who might be more sympathetic to a southern cause, as it were. Not that this is... Thomas Walsh is his interpretation of the day is not in keeping with southern ideals. I think we can all agree on that one. And so, if we are to seek allies in a political sense, our best bet would be those who are not, traitors to the whole idea of Southern class, and which there certainly are some. I'm trying so hard to find the names in my notes right now, and I can't read for shit.
Brain is soup.
Brain is
Because
soup.
your brain is
guys.
soup. Because your brain is soup, I'm willing to help you out.
Okay.
If your brain was not soup, I would not be helping you.
I have it in my notes, Parker. I promise. I just can't read.
Yeah, they've told me before
yes.
the names.
So who are you looking for?
Fucking...
You want the main two and then the one you asked me about?
Yes. That
Okay.
is good.
So there are two factions, essentially, in the Sunrise Council. There are the hard Northerners, and then the more Southern friendly, though again, not necessarily separatists. They are very for unification. The head of the Northern faction, as well as the head of the Sunrise Council itself, is Chom Yori. I'll drop that spelling in the chat. She is an older Azamar woman. She imperialist is a word.
Easily one of the words that Irene definitely didn't use to describe her.
But she is one of the most powerful people in the Southern State as head of the Sunrise Council. The head of the Southernist faction is Matsui Kane, who is a not middle-aged, but fairly youngish halfling woman. She is still for unification, but she is much more of a soft hand when it comes to Southern issues and imperial purification. More Southern autonomy, if that makes any sense. And then someone Irene want to bring up to you all is a counselor on the sort of Southern-ish side, though she's a bit of a centrist. Would be Ide Kuyo, who is one of the most junior members of the council. She's a Luxodon, over 300 years old.
And in the room, let's go.
Oh, hell yeah.
And is a devout follower of the Dominion God of Chaos.
Kuyo.
There are 13 members of the Sunrise Council in total.
What race was...
Political back.
Luxodon.
Oh, right, that's right. I remember that.
Elephant in the room.
One of the things I asked to ask is what's the general split of the factions?
Let me see if I can find my list of Irene thinks they're assholes and Irene thinks they're not assholes. I have that list labeled somewhere. It might have been on paper, actually. I can just go through my highlighted list, I guess.
Suspenseful music.
I am
Sorry.
counting as well with you, PK, don't worry.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot that thing shocks me a little bit every time it touches me. Yikes.
There are a lot of centrists on here.
Sorry, don't mind me, we're fine.
It seems to be about a 50-50 split at the moment,
Okay.
with the majority going to the Northerners, but just barely.
Yeah.
There's a fair amount of centrism in some people on the council. If Irene sounds a little bit like she despises every single person she brings up, it's only because she does a little bit. And she does. I cannot stress enough that Irene, for most of these people, does sound like she wants to do murder on them. But in a grandmotherly way.
Mm-hmm.
Julius,
So, like, make them a really itchy sweater or something.
No, like in a way that she'd murder them, but she'd do it for the good of her grandchildren. That's what I mean by a grandmotherly way.
Julius seems a bit amused by the way you're talking about the political people.
He's like has political opinions.
He's like, yeah, that's fair.
Hey, gamers. Sorry, real quick in that relevant question. Is it on the Gathering of Souls page
Yes.
right now?
Yes.
Okay, because it's not showing up as a tab that's playing music, but we can hear something, and we're like, hello?
It is playing music.
Yeah,
You're- Nocturne, you're hearing the boss music. Get out while you still can.
Okay, because it's like, no, like, genuinely, like, Chrome is not showing that it's a tab that has audio.
I don't.
So we're hearing, like, the faintest music and going, is
Oh, that's so weird
this
because
it?
mine shows
Is
it.
this- is this is this the final straw?
Is this audio?
Nadia's going to say, so how do you think we should approach Miss Connie and Miss Cleo?
Well, I suppose I wasn't sure if we were actually going to approach them. That's sort of why I was, offering it as a idea rather than, saying this is a plan that we should definitely pursue because,
I mean, if we're
our
starting
efforts-
a boat fight, sorry, go ahead.
Our efforts are already somewhat divided in terms of what we're planning on. And as I said, I do want to emphasize they can't actually do anything in regards to policy around the temple.
They can't do anything,
are they able
but
to maybe annul the marriage?
they can't do anything, but
No, if they could, annulling a marriage, is that in the right vein of,
That's less the council.
Legal.
Maybe the governor could do it.
maybe the governor could do that?
The
Okay.
thought is legal.
Yeah, but
Legal.
what really it's a matter of reputation. So we would be going to them to try to expose Walsh for some of his actions and damage his reputation. And in order to do that, I believe we need to have a legitimate case. We need to have evidence beyond. No, Julius, it's not that you're not wonderful evidence. It's just also that you're very much a criminal, So it's you're not the best case for.
We need evidence beyond a.
We need legitimate evidence that will stand up without, falling under scrutiny of.
you
We
need
could
some sort
figure-
of paper trail.
We could figure out if he's directly influenced certain things in the city. Besides the things he's done with the temple.
Yes, I mean, if he's doing something
And is
criminal,
that not allowed?
like, for example, having children kidnapped and thrown in, imprisoned, all that delightful, that's something that, regardless of whether or not they can change the policy of the temple, he's still a criminal, So,
I have a question.
does it make sense what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Parker, I'm gonna DM you a question that has to do with Julius lore. Hold on a minute.
Would Irene have also brought up the governor in the governor's office?
Yeah, she should probably bring up the governor, shouldn't she? Yeah, that's important. I'm sorry.
So the Sunrise Council is the legislatory body of Southern Shalas.
Okay.
The executive branch is run by the governor, the imperial governor.
Yeah.
Again, I want to help you out, PK, because I know you're a little bit soup. Love you too. If you jump in with info if you want. What do you have on the governor before you do governor things?
Give me 1 second, because I just had a quick conversation with my roommate. So, where's the fucking? I have this highlighted and color coded, and it's still not fucking good. So the most recent governor is a little bit of a different case than normal, in that it previously has been very a military presence, sort of a northern appointed military presence, to send a strong message and all
Sorry,
that,
recording.
as ought to be done, certainly. But 12 years ago, they appointed,
Kyochihu.
Kyochihu,
I will put his name in chat as well.
far more of a bureaucrat than, in fact, has no military history. And he's been very much making sort of strides and transitions towards rooting out military corruption and generally more peacetime activities, although there's things to be said both in favor and against his politics, as there are with, I'm sure, everyone on the council, everyone involved in politics. There's things to be said against them, and for some of them they may even have things to be said in favor. But he was the one. There used to be only 11 seats on the council. There are now 13, so he's sort of broadening it and doing that in response to sort of more hardline northern presences that don't appreciate all the policy changes he's been making and sort of the shift in focus, and so are insisting that they will refuse to retire and therefore prevent him from, sort of balancing out the council. So he added 2 more seats, which, good for him. But he's very, very different than we've had. These past 12 years have been a big change in terms of, well, that, I suppose. I don't know, that's all I got on the governor. I don't know if I missed important shit.
Nope, that's pretty much Chihu. He does have a vice governor, Chilsumi, and a military advisor, Paktehi.
Fucking Pak. Hate that guy.
Which I will also drop the spellings.
Yeah. And I'm sure the military faction isn't too happy with being told, no, stop that.
Not in the slightest. They're very, very strongly displeased, I would say. Yes. And good for them,
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
To be quite frank, Astadir, if they're having a worse day today than they were 2 decades ago, I'm happy.
Yep, no. I'm just concerned about collateral.
Perhaps
I mean,
that's dreadfully unkind of me. I don't know.
I mean, Pate is having a worse day than he was 2 decades ago.
He
God.
definitely is. Oh, should I mention the whole separatist attack thing?
Maybe.
Is Irene gonna mention the whole separatist attack?
Is she?
Julius will
How
kind of
important
pipe
is-
up and just say, "Look, I don't know if it means anything." And he looks like he's kind of trying to fight back saying it, but he just kind of shakes his head. He's like, when I was taken away, it wasn't like the people that took me weren't just like Lede people. Like they weren't really that. It was like a mix of different people with holy symbols. I don't know what they were. It's a blur, but I don't know if that means anything. So Welsh might have other, I don't know, holds in other holy places.
Well, that's quite significant.
I mean, I didn't really think about it until now.
No, that's perfectly understandable, dear. I didn't mean to, begrudge you the information. I just...
It's fine.
So, yes, the atrocities he's committed, atrocious as they are, if we don't have any evidence to present to people on the council, if indeed we are presenting this evidence as sort of a, hey, this is something that needs to be brought to public attention. If we don't have anything solid, it's not going to do us very much good at all, I'm afraid. So until we have something with a little bit of substance, a little bit of meat to it, I don't think talking to anyone is going to get us very much good.
There's
But I don't know.
the very nasty option, but I don't know if it protects it in a way.
Beg your
What's an
pardon?
option? Can you repeat yourself,
There's
Joe?
the option. There's the very messy option, but I don't know if it protects it in a way.
How messy?
Her confession under Zone of Truth, but it also means revealing that she has reason to believe he is alive now. She has reason to believe Kay is alive now.
No.
That
And it
is
would
a very
have-
messy option, you're right.
That is the messy option.
And we're not sure we could even convince her to take part in.
I would like to not have that be an option, probably.
Okay. But I wanted to lay it out on the table that it is because her word, particularly under truth magic, carries as much weight as Walsh's does.
It is a risk. However, I wouldn't want her to take that if she doesn't have to.
Is that our last resort? Is that one of our last resort options?
In general, it would be up to her. I'm not even sure if she'd cooperate. That would put her in a lot of risk, and that would
It
mean
would.
a lot of risk for other people, not just her.
Yeah, that's why it's the messy option. Other options are try and find evidence of Walsh's conflict of interest. Try and find evidence of that collaboration with other.
I will remind you all that you all have met and have a slightly positive opinion from one of the Sunrise Council
Mhm.
members.
I forgot about that fucker.
Yeah.
That's like
Yes, I
also
was
in my
actually
notes.
going to
The
ask,
boring man we brought. Aren't you
where
kind of
was
glad
he
that
within the
I,
back home?
aren't you glad
Sorry,
that
what'd you
Julius juggled to kind of bring him with?
That
Yeah,
we did
no,
both at the same time. What did you say, Joe?
Asa had been going to, well, I had been going to ask because Irene would have covered it. Where, oh god, I can't remember the dude's name.
Arita Koshiro.
Shiro.
The factions.
Alex is familiar with imperialism.
Yeah. How,
Okay.
on a scale of
Yeah,
1 to 10.
Alex is familiar with imperialism.
Alex is like a solid 8 to 9 on imperialism.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well, no, I guess the thing was, does he know it's called that? Does he know
Yes.
term? Okay.
Imperialism.
Because Alex is probably familiar with a lot of concepts, but I don't know if he knows what they're called.
He would know the word imperialism. Martha and some of her friends would have thrown around the word imperialist.
Fuck yeah, dude! Come on.
Martha. God.
Nagi
Okay.
would also know what the word imperialism is. I don't know if Nin does.
Not.
Gods.
She's just kind of nodding along at this point, like she understands. She does not.
I love her.
I love her too.
So Aster asked where Kashiro fell, like, in terms of
Yeah.
the faction lines.
Yeah.
Koshiro is a little bit of a weird one. He doesn't necessarily fall in the northern-southern split. Instead, Koshiro is generally the way he conducts himself is as a representative of Hakusan specifically,
Yeah.
as well as the
well,
Kinjiro family.
Yeah.
As a result,
He's, Waku's representative.
yes. As a result, he is typically a little bit more pro-Southern, or at least pro autonomous powers of, like, prefecture lords.
At least a little bit more pro. Please do not gut a fucking man and leave his small child to.
He definitely wasn't in favor of, like, executing people about it. So, you know.
Yeah.
Don't do
Like-
a murder about it.
Like,
Do
as
murder.
far, like, when Irene talks a little bit about him, she sounds like he's on thin fucking ice just because, you know, politician, but, like, he's okay.
He is also a survivor of the reunification war, and is generally anti war violence.
Yeah.
Which
We
is
love
saying
that.
something
We
for
love
the
that.
council.
Which is saying something
You do have
considering,
to- it is actually pretty significant when you're
considering like Keone.
She who could. Yeah.
yeah. So Kashiro's like, you know, he's on Irene's list of not assholes, but like not because he's like super strongly like radical or anything. He's probably all right.
Mm-hmm.
Probably wouldn't cause
Yeah.
trouble.
And we do have
So,
some goodwill
He's
built
worth
with him.
conversing with. Is what we could say is that he's worth conversing with.
As Irene proved on the travel.
Woo.
Irene did
Because she
talk
was
to him
chatting
a
to
lot
him.
about old people shit on the travel. That's true.
So Koshiro technically ends up being kind of more on the southern side, though not usually for the same reasons as like
Yeah.
Kane or another one of the council members, Basil Lusitanius, is.
Basil.
Basil.
Basil the Beloved, apparently.
Yeah.
Basil
is the
if
good
Irene
one.
mentions Basil, you can tell that Basil's. She's like, yeah, okay.
That's the good one.
Not to be clear, Irene seems to this is maybe something that you guys didn't know about Grandma before this competition or before this conversation. Irene seems to hate politicians
Good for her.
as like a
Yeah,
baseline.
Ellen.
So Basil gets a thumbs up. Who's to say what that means?
I've heard good things about
His
this
name is
guy.
his name is probably dropped in the list of like Southernists.
Yeah. I don't think she'd go too specific on
Mm-hmm.
Basil,
political
our
agenda.
council beloved.
I just love the name Basil so much.
It is very good. I read a book once where like the lead dude is named Basil, and it was very weird though.
Basil's just a good name.
It is a good
Basil.
name.
And I misgendered Zer. Basil uses Zer pronouns.
Yay! We love
Gave
that
the
for
best,
them.
Your pros are
Yes.
fucking nouns, dude.
gave the best council member my pronouns.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Good and
That's
valid.
valid. Yes.
Dude, everyone knows not being non-binary makes you better at politics.
Exactly. Why do you think I want?
It-
Yeah.
It does make you a better person.
That's why I
It
make
also makes
most.
you hotter.
That's why I make most of my characters that I really like they thems.
They them.
Sorry.
Yeah. Make it.
Okay,
I don't know
so
if there's anything else Irene would think super important to mention unless you guys asked about it. I guess I'm
Yeah.
saying she didn't mention the separatist attack
She
then.
didn't mention this.
I guess she's
That's what
deciding
you guys-
not to bring that one up.
That's a
Because the point of this conversation is people who might be able to aid our agenda, which has very little to do with the fucking.
If that's
Story
your
for
goal,
another
you
time.
might mention that she who might not be Walsh's biggest fan. The governor might.
Yes. She who might
which
not
I
like
think
Wall
we
Street.
actually have.
Yes, Rivetta said that.
Yeah.
But as a reminder.
That's my
Yes.
mom. Boogie woogie woogie.
That is your mom.
It is my
Yeah,
mom.
so Irene would reiterate that as well.
Okay. Actually, Parker, question.
Yes.
Reunification and citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
I
You're
know
gonna
I
be
am
less
going
specific.
somewhere with this.
God.
Is it one of those citizenship in one of the countries sort of is it one of those like pre-Brexit UK deals that
So-
citizenship in one of those countries is
To clarify something, Southern and Northern Chalas are not two different countries. They are the same country. Under Northern.
okay.
When I say there is a Southern state, there is a very specific sort of nuance to the reunification treaty that allows the South
Okay.
to have their own legislative body and their own governor.
Yep.
However, both of those bodies are in fact answerable to the Chalasian government.
On a federal level, they are.
Yeah, they're like the state versus like the federal government.
Yeah, okay.
So
I've got a
she-
pretty solid idea of how that works because of
When we say she
Cameron's
who was
real.
appointed, yeah, she who was appointed specifically by the Northern Emperor.
yeah. Okay.
Which certainly is
Okay.
a choice.
What happened to the last governor?
Yeah. Irene
not
really
dead.
could
Yeah.
mention the separatist attack, but she's just not gonna.
That's fair.
So, do we want to try and figure out a way to arrange a meeting with Kuyo and Koshiro?
Again,
If that's something we want to do.
I'm not sure how useful such a meeting is going to be unless we have something concrete we can present.
Yeah.
If we find something, then absolutely, but
Yeah, X and Nungi might be able to retrieve something tomorrow, but
I don't know. And if we don't have anything concrete, it might. It
It's not
may
worth
still be
it.
worth mentioning it.
Okay.
They could
But I
also.
don't.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, my Discord just did a weird thing.
I was just gonna say, they could be useful in kind of figuring out if somebody's been poking their nose into business they shouldn't be. Depends on if they would actually tell us, but if they suspect Walsh, that might be a useful thing. Or we could be the, what do you want to call it? The dowsing rod to figure out what the fuck he's been messing with if they're trying to figure out who's been digging their hands in pies. You know? They obviously can't meddle in temple
set me
affairs. They can't meddle in temple affairs. If they suspect someone, but they can't do anything about it, they need an in-between. Maybe that's something we can offer, because maybe there's a mutual give and take there.
There, something about the way you're phrasing this does make it sound like you are suggesting that we encourage the government to violate the reunification treaty.
No, no.
How bad could it be?
The specific clause in the reunification treaty that prevents, meddlesome anything. Like, it does sound a little bit like you're suggesting that, and I cannot stress enough that that is a terrible idea.
You do understand that this is not me fucking with my own goddamn temple, right?
I know you're not fucking with your own goddamn temple.
Look,
But it's what you're suggesting, just the way you were suggesting, it was like, yes, government that's not allowed to meddle in the temple. Do you want to meddle in the temple? We can accomplish that
look,
for you.
Granny, everything I say sounds fucking shady. I can't help it. It's ingrained by now. So,
It's not a fault. It's just a quirk. It's.
great. I'll add that into my many lists.
Put it on the resume.
Yeah. Great at sounding like a fucking... No, that's already on there. Never mind.
Anyway, that's my stance on it. Is if we don't have solid evidence, it will be a lot harder to approach this. So we may as well see if we can gather anything, and then move from there.
Yeah, that seems.
I think
Because also without concrete evidence, without something to accelerate the timeline on this, it's going to get bogged down in bureaucracy and.
Everyone loves bureaucracy.
Isn't it just the greatest ever?
I would like no hand, thank
Spoken like a
you.
true bureaucrat.
Right, we can jump ahead to our friends in the hole.
Hole.
Time for hole.
Diggy diggy
So
hole.
everyone but Jamie,
Oh, God.
you're all in a hole.
What a nice hole.
We're again. We are in a hole that the tunnel it goes into has caved in.
Yes.
There's not an illusion there, is there? To make it look like it caved in?
Make an investigation check or an intelligence check. Both
Doesn't
of which
Nin
are the
have
same
detect
stat.
magic as well?
Nin does have detect magic, as a
Julius
free.
would be
Okay.
willing to help to investigate too.
I will do.
Yeah.
Detect magic, and then Julius roll me an investigation check.
Alright.
Asta will give advantage on that investigation.
Cool. Oh, I nearly clicked disadvantage. We don't want that.
So,
Oh,
There we go. 17.
Nin. Couldn't remember your name
Yes.
for a second. You flick your detect magic on, And it's a real rock wall, or at
Cool.
least it is unmagical. With a 17, it is a real rock wall. You put your hand up to it, you touch it, it seems as though it is not structural, as it is not like load bearing, like there's nothing resting real weight on it. And the other thing is that while you cannot tell how long this rock wall has been here, the way in which some of the like dirt and dust and smaller rocks have settled looks as if it has been messed with or maybe adjusted recently. Someone has done something to this wall very recently.
So does this look like it was deliberate demolitions?
Yes.
Is there a piece of something that I could see that, like, could be moved or something like that and somebody to squeeze through?
So a lot of the stones that are here and a lot of the way that the thing has collapsed is there are loose pieces of the wall. It is not like a built like brick wall or anything. It has just been like collapsed in. However, you are all far down in the earth enough that a collapse like this doesn't really create big pieces of rock in the same way. You might have to be digging for a while, and you have no idea how thick this is either.
How high is this pile?
It is as tall as the tunnel itself, which is tall enough to hold Alex, but just barely.
Does it look like it would be moderately stable were someone to try and like scramble up and sort of check the top edge to see, because things slide down, right?
It looks like stable enough. You might have a few issues. You definitely have to roll a check for it.
I mean, Asta's willing to at least attempt. He will give warning as...
Okay, make an athletics check.
Let me just make sure that this is not gonna... Yeah, that's normal.
Yep, with that, you kind of feel along it for a little bit to try to find some more stable places. Some of the smaller rocks are easy to sort of pull off in a way. But the more moderate sizes, you manage to kind of up. And at the very top, it seems as if what stone was pulled down must have been pulled down or collapsed in from the space around it. And there's no like way through it. It just kind of hits the top of the ceiling.
Yeah, but the upper edge now...
It does seem to be thinner. It does, have a bit of a slope to it. But it is not, a clear path up there.
Yeah. Does it look like it could be more clearable up the...
I mean, in theory, it is thinner.
Yeah.
Probably.
Is something we want to investigate. I think he kind of scoots around so he can look back at the group.
Do you think that this could possibly be thicker than about 30 feet?
That's a very alarming question, but probably not.
Probably not. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I'd be careful if
And
there's
if you're
dirt
going
on the
to
other
do
side.
anything magical, I need to move.
I would like you to move, probably. I don't think it's going to shift anything.
Julius is gonna back up.
It's not going to. It's going to be fine. I was just. Do you remember how I was able to put Snowball behind the door without seeing behind the door?
Yeah.
I thought
Actually, if you're gonna do that, Ash is gonna actually try and. I think he's gonna use the butt of the mace to try and push some of the. To try and create an opening that Irene can possibly see through.
Make a strength check.
Yeah, because he's not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you you take the butt of the thing and you right in there and you pull a rock loose, and it's a moderate sized rock and it comes off, and there are more rocks behind it, and you kind of chisel away a little bit more, and you create a little divot in. But it's not like, 6 inches of rock. It keeps going. You're not exactly sure how far in it might take you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because don't you need sideline to be able to...
I do not. I did it behind the door.
no.
It's just any unoccupied space within 30 feet of you. And the way Irene understands it, and the way I understand it, is that if, Snowball's not going to suffocate in the wall if she tries to do it and it doesn't work. It just won't work because it's not an unoccupied space.
Yeah.
So there's no harm for Irene trying to...
I think that's what Asta had been walking off of, was trying to create a site.
No, because she did it to the door without seeing behind it. And that's what she
I don't think
brought
Asta
up.
was there then. I think he was doing
Yeah, no,
other
I
things.
think I just assumed that people knew, but that's on me. Yeah,
It's
so
okay.
I think Irene's just gonna... I mean, she's gonna guesstimate and try to pop Snowball, say, 30 feet out from her, which would presumably be on the other end, because she hasn't climbed up the rocks at all, because she's got arthritis, right? So just 30 feet on what she presumes is the other side of the rocks.
Make
And
me an
see what
intelligence
happens.
check.
An intelligence check. I can do that. I hope it's good. Hold on. If I can do that, if I can find intelligence on my sheet, I'm a good Dungeons and Dragons player.
This is a certainly you can cast it out that far. This is a I want to know how good your aim is check.
That's a 16, so my aim is who's to say?
16's not bad.
So Snowball, who had been on your shoulders because she was like, ew, dirt, bamps away. And then there's a heartbeat as you send the magic out through the rock. And it moves, and it moves, and you feel it start to coalesce as the way it does when Snowball forms. And you wait, and it's together, solidifies. And you have a cat on the other side of the wall.
Fuck yeah, I look through the cat's eyes immediately.
It is dark.
Cats have dark vision.
It is still dark, but yeah.
Okay.
The tunnel, you land 30 feet out, and the first thing Snowball does is check behind her shoulder, and the, kind of guesstimating how far away she is from the wall, it seems like the collapse is probably about 10 to 15 feet thick.
Yeah, okay.
At least from she is 10 to 15 feet away from the other end of the wall. And in front of her, the tunnel stretches out straight, seemingly carved well and solid, but it is dark. And eventually her dark vision fails and she can't see any further.
Okay. Irene will narrate, Snowball did such a wonderful job. I'm so proud of her, It looks like the wall is about 10 to 15 feet thick, which is, a little bit insurmountable for us, I should think, at this juncture. And it is very dark on the other side. And I don't think Snowball can really I mean, there's a limit to how far she can go with Irene's eyes, right? Or-
Yes,
Yeah.
about 100 feet.
Well, she'll go out 100. She'll keep going until Irene won't be able to see through her anymore, just to see if she sees anything new or interesting.
Here's a question. Can Parker conceptualize what 100 feet is?
No.
That's a fantastic question. And
Parker,
such a mood.
I know just the way to do
It's
it.
got
You
3
know,
Wendy's.
you know when people so think of think of
30 feet.
shit.
Why?
Now you guys made me stop. Think of when you're about there's like a shit roads, right? When you're gonna
Yes.
take a right turn, that's usually that length of space is about 100 feet.
Okay.
Sorry, I was trying to get that to come out of my brain, and you guys were funny, so it was making me not think about it. I forgot the word
So-
for road. How does that happen?
Snowball kind of trots forward along the dirt. Little cat feet.
Mm-hmm.
And you sit there for a while, and it doesn't really change. It's all sort of this dark brown black carved out stone. It's not like a built tunnel. It just looks kind of as if like somebody had just kind of come in and like scooped out all of the inside bits, and then the tunnel walls stayed up around the scooping.
Scooping.
I don't know if that made any sense at all.
Yeah, no, I got it. I got you.
So, and 100 feet passes, and she starts to get kind of to the edge of your vision, and it starts to kind of fizz out. It is a straight shot, and as far as you can tell, it is a straight shot towards where underneath the temple would be. However, the 100 feet hits, and it hasn't reached the end yet.
Okay.
But if it is definitively towards the temple, if Irene is telling us this,
Yeah, like Irene's just gonna say it's continuing straight towards a direction that would lead to under the temple. Snowball. Wait.
You can send her out further, it's just you can't look in her eyes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think that is what Irene's gonna do. Irene is going to tell
before you
Snowball.
do,
Oh.
Asta's gonna actually ask you to call her back for a bit because he wants to put light on her briefly so that you can get a better sight for like what's going on with the tunnel
Hell yeah.
itself.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yes, she will consent.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
Irene will ask telepathically, Snowball. And this is entirely telepathic. You guys cannot hear this. Snowball, I know you hate Asta, but would you mind if he put some light on you so you could see a little bit better?
I haven't had to think about what Snowball speaks like yet.
I'm making you do this right now, I guess.
There's a moment down the bond. What's funniest?
Oh no.
What's funniest?
You don't have to decide right now either. You can just.
Yeah, I'm not going to yet.
Okay.
You get a response that's like the equivalent of like, because it's you asking.
Right. Okay. Irene is delighted by this. We'll call Snowball back so Asta can do it, and also at the same time we'll give her a treat.
Tree.
She will take the treat.
She's a good girl. She's such a good girl. I love her so much.
Oh my god.
You back the cat, and now it's a glowing cat.
Try to send Glowing Cat back to the other side?
Yeah, it works. Well, you have it because you've seen
That
it.
means your visual feedback, you can see more about like the tunnel itself.
Right.
Again, the tunnel is as though someone just kind of reached in and pulled out the insides.
So it's like packed dirt.
It's like packed dirt, yeah. It's not like a carved tunnel or anything. It's just all packed in to create this walkway.
Yeah. Also, is Irene noticing any like torch sconces or?
Not in the first bit, but then as we get towards 70, 80 feet out, there is one.
One.
Okay.
And then as you hit the 100 feet, there is another.
Okay.
Okay, so it's clear that there was some. Great
So when we're getting towards the temple region, how long does light last?
An hour?
Yeah, but
You can just get rid of it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
if you cast again, I'll just use it as an action.
Okay. So Irene will ask Aster to dismiss the light,
Yeah.
and then she will instruct Snowball, with all sorts of affirmations of what a good kitty she is, and how much Irene appreciates the help. If she would go down the tunnel until she finds something, look around as much as she can, and then come back. I guess.
Yeah. Asta just fizzes the light out so that.
Yeah.
She gives you an affirmative, and then your vision fizzes, statics, and then drops as she goes past 100 feet.
Irene's having separation anxiety right now.
Oh.
And now we wait, I suppose.
You all just gonna sit there in the hole?
Yeah.
Anyone got any cards?
Roll me a perception and a stealth for Snowball, please.
Okay,
Oh,
Snowball
boy.
character. Where is she? My beautiful,
She's in
beautiful
familiar
girl.
shapes.
I love her so much. Normally her perceptions are garbage. So let's see. Perception. Oh, that had an advantage.
Hey!
It doesn't matter because
Hmm.
that was the first roll anyway. Let me make sure that's set to normal. And then stealth. Not too good, I'll tell you. She's not
Well-
used to stealth missions, guys. She's a house
She's
cat.
also a glowing cat, so.
She's not glowing anymore.
Okay.
She's beautiful, though.
We will get back to Snowball's adventures in the tunnel.
Fun adventures
Nagi.
with Snowball.
Is Jamie here?
I think.
We will get to that in a second show. We're going to jump over to Nagi and Ixalia's adventures inside the temple.
Mhm.
The two of you see this black tabaxi individual head back down the stairs with a plate of lunch. And then it is quiet again in the third floor of the administration building of the temple to Lede.
And last time Nick said that we would come back at lunch, right?
Yes.
For
As-
some reason.
As it seemed like that is when Inway had kind of implied that was when her rooms normally get cleaned.
Oh, okay. Then Nagi will wait a bit for the tabaxi to leave, and then go to. Well, I guess Ix and Nagi will go and knock on the door.
You knock, knock, knock. Hanako, is that you back again? And Ixalia, you hear from inside just a, Hanako, is that you back again? And Ixalia goes, yes, Mom. And inside you hear, right, okay. One moment. And there's
Your
a bit
mom.
of move.
I said we get to see your mom.
There is a bit of movement inside. It seems shuffling, like she's possibly adjusting, maybe putting on another layer, something. And then the door opens, And standing in front of the two of you she is sort of middle age, upper middle age, about as old as Rivetta was. Um, a little bit taller, with this long, jet black straight hair that has been piled up into a bun on the back of her head with a couple of hair sticks. She is wearing a beautiful silken kimono in that same sort of blue as the rest of the temple, though the obi that she is wearing, as well as a couple of hairpins and a few extra pieces of like accentuating fabric, um, seem to break the mold a little bit in that they are this beautiful sort of like springtime flower pattern, like not quite cherry blossom, but like that kind of style to create sort of the a contrast to the rest of her kimono. Uh, she looks tired. I think is the first thing that you notice about her beyond her appearance. Um, and she opens the door and she goes, "Right, um, not much today, I think. I do need a change of sheets, though, if that's possible. Who are you?" And she's looking at you, Nagi.
Hi, I'm Orin. I am Hanako's cousin, and I'm sort of like, I'm sort of, tailing along today so I can get a hang of the job. I, I'm, I'm new in town and I want to get a job here.
All right. Nice to meet you. Um,
And you too. You're very pretty.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Um, right, I'll be back in an hour.
Hmm. It'll be,
Uh,
it'll be spotless by the time you get back.
she sort of bows her head slightly and then uh, steps out into the hallway, walks past the two of you, and then back towards um, probably the second floor uh, as she heads down the hallway. And her rooms are open to you.
Immediately going for her desk. Well, I'm not. Ix is going to because Nagi has. Ix is snooping. Nagi's helping. Is what I'm saying.
Okay. I presume
Yeah.
you closed the door?
Yeah, it's closed.
Alrighty. Investigation.
They close the door and make sure to bring in the cart.
Yeah.
Does she-
That
They don't have advantage on their sheet, do they?
if you were helping them, that's 12. That's with advantage.
Oh, no, they don't have inspiration on their sheet, do they? I mean, sorry.
They do.
Never mind, because they probably might not use it. So,
No. Um,
uh,
so, the two of you sort of go, and so the inside of her rooms it's a fairly large room, actually, sort of similar to this, not a little bit smaller, but sort of similar in style to the way Waki's bedroom was, in that there is a more permanent sort of bedroll on one side, um, that seems to be sort of set up with these sort of very plush, very full blankets that are very soft to the touch. There is a desk as well, and then in one corner there seems to be, just like in Waki's room, a like small, like individualized fire pit, as though like this is a place to keep warm, with a couple of seating cushions around it. Additionally, next to the desk, there is a painter's easel, with there is currently not a canvas on it, although there are a few stacked up on the wall behind it, as well as scattered about the room a collection of just about any color and type of paint you might want. There is also a small collection of like paint chunks as well. And then paint brushes kept very neat and nice and clean in a small container next to the easel. There are a couple of paint palettes as well. But again, it doesn't seem like she's working on anything. The desk is low to the ground, set where probably good for a seating cushion to be sat. There are a couple of drawers sort of like both in it and like surrounding it. It seems that at the moment what is on her desk is a blank roll of parchment with a calligraphy pen and brush and ink sort of off to the side. In the waste paper basket, there is another crumpled piece of paper, and you pull it out and sort of look at it, and it looks as if it's like the start of a letter that she had made like 3 sentences in, and then there's a misstroke which turns one character from something reasonable to something stupid, and it seems like she was like, oh fuck, and scrunched it and put it in the waste paper basket. It is not really a letter of any import of much, at least. It doesn't seem. It seems to just be a note to another person who has an office in the same floor about some festival organization. The drawers mostly contain, first of all, blank paper, blank stationery. Secondly, they contain what seem like a very strange collection of knickknacks and little doodads. They seem to be like little charm baubles. An eclectic collection. It doesn't seem like there's a solid theme or pattern to what she has in her desk drawers, except that they all seem fairly well cared for, as if they were treasured in some way. There are 2 locked drawers, and in the corner of the desk, a small ceramic bowl which has some little wrapped candies in it.
Oh.
Now who's gonna ask Ix to get locked drawers? Well, she at least makes an attempt at making this place look like they cleaned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make an intelligence check.
Oh no. Okay.
As I roll these tools for.
Okay. Intelligence. This will go well.
Okay. Nagi. As much as you've spent the morning cleaning, this is the most like direct cleaning you've ever done in your life, and you're fully not exactly still sure what you're doing. This little bottle of shit smells good. And you saw Exalia like cleaning the floors with it, so you go for it. The room smells nice now.
Just dumped some perfume on the ground.
Also, I'm taking some candies. I said, also, I'm taking some candies.
Fair enough. They look like little little like
Are they those little strawberry
candied-
candies?
They're like little candied fruits, yeah.
How many do I get?
You just get a handful.
Okay, handful. I'm gonna put like 5 then.
Mm-hmm. Ixalia goes for the drawers. The first one she pops open, and the first it seems to be a collection of letters, received letters. There are a couple from Walsh. There are a couple from Governor Chihu. There are a couple of other names you kind of recognize from Irene's Politics 101. There's a couple of names that you don't recognize.
Both are 12, nothing helpful, right?
Hmm?
But with a 12 investigation, nothing helpful, right?
I mean, as far as you can tell, um,
Uh,
Ixalia pops open the second locked drawer, and inside there seems to be a small, well-bound book. Um, and a similar collection of small items, though these look a bit older. Um, there's like a small scrap of paper that was doodled on. It seems quite old. Um, what looks like possibly a child's finger painting. There's a couple of those actually. Um, and a small coin pressed of it's a small sort of silverish coin with the design of a dove pressed into it.
yeah, we still all her sentimental shit. No. Um, um, so we would have discussed about getting hard evidence, that connects Wolf to something, right?
Yes.
So that would include paperwork. Yeah, Naga's gonna take the paperwork and put it in her bag of holding. The ones
The
letters
the
and stuff.
the letters.
Yeah.
Okay, you grab the papers and you put them in the bag of holding.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hopefully that's something in them.
Oh, boy.
God, if they're just
I think
they're
Ixalia is like, do we want to steal them? I don't.
so
I
we
mean,
should
that's
maybe we should read them first. Well, get a glimpse of them real fast. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll go take a glimpse of them real fast, see if there's anything useful.
Uh, make another investigation check.
And X
Ixalia
make me
will.
this.
Yeah, Ixalia will make one as well.
Okay, cool. I'll roll real fast. Where's investigation? Natural 20 for 19.
Okay. Between the two of you, so the letters with the names you don't recognize, you quickly surmise they are letters that seem to be exchanged with other members of the Lede Order, probably spread out across the southern nation. It's a lot of asking for theological advice, lots of little like discussing sort of the state of the temple of the order. They mostly seem to have similar but distinct concerns. A lot of them seem a little like, hey, we heard about the recent proclamation from Father Welsh. What the fuck? Um, but it seems like they're all talking about a different proclamation. It seems that some of Walsh's theological positions are not very popular. Um,
But nothing spicy.
but nothing overly spicy. No.
Okay, so she's just gonna leave the paperwork because
The ones with governmental individuals at the moment, a lot of them seem to be organization for the festival. For example, there is a letter from Chihu, that is confirming that he is going to be there, that he is going to be taking part in the opening ceremony. There's a letter from Kuyo, Ide Kuyo, basically discussing sort of if Inway wants her in any sort of religious capacity at all, or just as a statesman. It's the letters between Kuyo and Inway are a little bit more friendly than a lot of the other letters. It seems that they have some familiarity with each other. The letters between Inway and Walsh, the letters from Walsh specifically, Walsh's writing style, it is at once blunt and obscured, in that he likes his sort of over the top, sort of flowery language, but he is sort of always direct to the point as well. Like, he's not skirting around what he's saying. He's kind of he's embellishing, but he's not obscuring anything, at least not from Inway. These letters seem to be very recently dated. They seem to be discussing the holy site that Walsh is investigating. There is one in the middle that seems to be the most read, as if Inway has read this one over and over again, in which Walsh claims to have found it.
Does he say what it is, or?
The way that he talks seems to be in that way of, like, both he and Inway know what it is,
Okay.
but he's not like, as you know, I am looking for the XYZ.
Yeah.
The most recent letter from him is mostly detailing when he'll be back, how his travel back is going to be, and those sort of logistical things.
Yeah, just put the papers back and not much different from there.
Does the when he's going to be back match up with what we know?
Yes.
Okay. That was important to ask because that would change our scale.
It does say that he is technically arriving the night before the festival, but late in the night before the festival. And he'll likely just show up and pass out. Because he is kind of an older gentleman, and he is going through a lot of travel, so he might want to pass out immediately afterwards. The thing about the letters between him and Inway, it does not read like a set of letters between someone who is married to people who are married. It seems more, and this is only because you're getting a natural 20. Uncomfortable business partners. Uncomfortable business partners, but it is very clear that Walsh feels he has a level of authority that Inway does not in this situation. Yeah, Exalia's like, put the letters back.
I can't already have letters back. No, I think it's really useful.
You are starting to run out of time. You maybe have 20 to 15 minutes until the end of the hour.
Yeah, no, just cleaning up the rest of the room, checking normal hiding spots that people would have, like under beds.
Make another investigation check. Or we can have Exalia do one an advantage.
Yeah, Exalia, please.
18. Okay. I was about to be like, okay, y'all are not gonna get a lot of shit here. Um,
Yeah. Desk is always first stop. Second
yeah.
stop is normal hiding spots.
Uh, the two of you kind of go over the room really quickly. Um, you check under the bed, you check like behind a painting on the wall. Um, you check sort of behind one of the like underneath some of the like sitting cushions and like underneath the fire trap. You check behind the desk. Um, behind one of the paintings, you find what looks like a small sort of hidden compartment.
Mhm.
And when you open it up, when Exalia opens it up very carefully, um, there are essentially what seems like um, it's in a couple of different boxes, but a couple of little ornate boxes, um, pieces of jewelry, um, ornate hairpins, a set of very finely carved chopsticks. Um, seems like very like monetarily valuable items.
Mhm.
Um, as you are going, um, as Exalia is doing one last pass of the room, they open the second drawer again with the sentimental items and just sort of feel the bottom of the desk. And they must press it slightly differently this time because at some point there's a click and a shift and the bottom opens. And just as the two of you look at each other, you start to hear what sounds like what are possibly Inway's footsteps coming back down the hallway.
Let's see. Uh, Now he is going to say, gonna look at what's in there. I'm gonna go stall.
Okay.
And yeah, and Nagi is gonna go take the cart and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wing this. Take the cart and walk out towards the way.
You push the cart out of the room and you see her coming down the hallway towards you. Um, what do you do?
Um, I could either accidentally bump into her or just start conversation. I'm trying to okay, so she's Nagi's going to start walking down the hallway and um she is going to say, Miss Inoue, what was the name of the festival again? I forget. The upcoming festival.
Me as Parker
So,
needs you to repeat that question.
what's the name of the upcoming festival?
The name?
Yes, yes, yes.
She kind of.
No, no, out of character. Out of character. That was out of
Oh,
character.
it is the Harvest Festival.
Okay, so Nagi is going to say, Miss Inoue, are you going to be a part of the Harvest Festival this year?
She looks at you, and there's a moment of sort of amused but kind of off-put confusion.
Uh-huh.
Orphan, right?
Yes.
Uh, pardon me if this is wrong. You're not from Horatari, are you?
Oh no. I'm not. Sorry. I just heard about the festivals and I figured someone, in your position would be, a part of such a thing.
I am, yes. I'm part of a lot of the official ceremony.
So, I'm from a very small town to the north. What is, what is the Harvest Festival feel like? I've never been. I'm sorry for taking up so much of your time. I'm just, it's, new here, nerves.
Well, these are questions I've never really been asked before. It's a very large festival. I'm sure you've been to festivals.
Yeah, like small ones where it's like, oh, look, catch a goldfish with this little rice paper hoop thing, and rice paper always breaks, of course.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there are things like that. There are religious ceremonies and sermons and the like. There are lots of art contests. I'm sure Hanako would have a lot better of a response for things for you to do at the festival. I'm often very tied up, you see.
Oh, I can imagine. What what does, being you entail for the festival is what I'm wondering, I guess. Do you get
Um,
any time to enjoy it?
he seems a little bewildered. I am going to roll an intelligence check for Ixalia.
Okay. Nagi constantly baffling people.
Um, Inway, sort of. Well, I officiate the opening and the closing, and I paint a very large portrait with well, loads of symbolic importance. I- I'm sorry, Miss Oren. I don't necessarily have time to
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, and she'll just bow,
No,
give a
no, no, no,
little
no, no,
bow.
no. It's all right. I would love to sit down and talk to you and teach you everything you want to know about it, but we're a bit busy. It's just the week up to it. Doing a lot of work, and you know,
Oh, of course. Well, I hope you have a lovely day, Miss Inouye.
you too. Is Hanako still in my room?
Yeah, I was just, taking this up to change out some water. She shows the gross water. Um, yeah, Hanako's still there, though.
Thank you. Um, and she sort of stands aside to
Yeah,
let you through.
Nagi will slowly make her way past and hope Ix gets the fuck out of there soon.
Um, as Inway sort of steps forward, you hear her and Ixalia have a very short conversation, and then Ixalia is up behind you, arms full of bed sheets. Um, because she remembered that Inway asked for
Yeah.
a switch. Um, and as she gets up close to you, she goes, "Papers all in cipher."
And they're eating crab keepers, right?
Of course I didn't. What do you take me
Yeah, I
for?
thought so. Okay. So we're walking out of here with nothing. Pod.
You do have to go wash some sheets first.
Oh yeah, I know. They're gonna go do the sheets. Wash the sheets, change out the sheets, etc.
Mhm. After you're done with that, towards the end of your shifts, you do knock on the door and you say you've brought back the change of sheets. And she lets you two in to refit, sort of put the blankets back in place. Um, And you two are free to go. You can clock out.
Yep, they'll get out as quickly as they can. Well, I mean, not as quickly. They'll take their time about it, see if they can overhear anything. But or see anything interesting, I guess. Take a long way out.
Yeah, make a perception check.
Perception. 21.
You do manage to hear a couple of things. It seems like a lot of the temple sort of officials are mostly focused on the Harvest Festival, which starts soon. There are a couple that are kind of talking a bit about what to do, like how like preparing for Wolf to come back and that sort of thing. You get a couple of juicy little logistical details about like one of the adjudicators for like the ceramics contest has gotten sick and they don't know if she's going to be like well enough to do judging.
Uh-oh. That's cutting it close to the wire.
Theater for the ceramics contest. Just kind of shit like that.
Last minute snags in the plan.
And as you make your way out of the temple at 2, you do catch sight of Rivetta. She sort of gives you a nod as the two of you head out, and as she is polishing the nameplate on Walsh's office door. And you are back out into the city. Whole friends.
Please don't call us that.
Oh, friends!
God.
Oh, buddies.
Parker, I love you so much, but do you have to do that?
I do.
Oh my god, oh no, bad thought.
Parker, it is 9:13 in the morning.
Hey guys, I wasn't paying attention. What happened?
We're,
Called us as their whole friends.
that's about as bad as the fucking Tommy and his boy hole fucking,
This is not.
I'm dying.
I do have to say, Parker derogatory right now. That's my stance at the moment.
Oh. Welcome to the hole.
You just
No, you can't say
Whole friends.
Hole. With a huh. Breathe, Richard, breathe.
So you all have been sitting in this hall for a couple of hours.
Go fish.
We are playing Go Fish.
We absolutely are playing Go Fish.
Who has the cards? Because Julius doesn't have them.
Wait, who's winning though? Who's won the most rounds so far?
Alex.
Not Julius. Definitely Alex. My vote's on Alex.
Yeah. Julius just looks frustrated, like you've gotta have cards up your
Julius
sleeve.
has not won a game yet.
Yep.
You have to have cards up your sleeve. This is statistically impossible.
Julius is the only one trying to
Have you-
cheat and failing.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered I'm just good?
I mean, I'm sure you are, but you shouldn't be this good. Not at Go Fish.
I've had 100 years to practice.
I can't
How
argue
long
that.
have you been alive, Julius?
I'm fucking nearly 27, my dude. Oh god.
Oh, he's nearly 27.
I have 4 times the Go Fish experience.
You've been playing Go Fish for that is that how old this game is?
Oh my
Yes.
Go Fish has been along been around.
Do we
quite
have Go
a
Fish
bit.
in the Feywild?
We've got Go Fish lore now.
You know what?
Wait,
What's going on? Or
did
Did cards exist 100 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, you know what? This is getting ridiculous. I think we should play War next. I think that's the next one on the agenda.
I don't know that game either.
Nin, you had what you thought was Go Fish. According to everyone else, it's fucked up and evil Go Fish.
Yes!
The evil Go Fish canon to the Feywild.
Oh my
let's
god.
go.
Can we, oh my god.
Goldfish.
Meet up, we need to make a fucking evil Go Fish game.
Fucked up and evil Go Fish. I got this, guys.
Just a lot more of everything.
This is a fucked up and evil fish, but
Don't ask me what the rules for fucked up and evil Go Fish are. I don't know.
we'll figure it out.
So
But we all listened to it and went, what the fuck?
It's all normal. It's like normal goldfish, but a lot more.
It's just too much.
There's just like you can have as many cards as you'd like. Just combine as many decks as you want.
You're allowed to lie. You're allowed to lie when people ask if you have.
You're not allowed to lie. It's Feywild Go Fish.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Well, you're not allowed to get caught lying.
You must do it in as many fucked up ways as possible, and the cards you combine do not have to, crucially, do not have to even resemble the same playing cards.
You
God.
just have to have
Like there's a
reason.
Yu-Gi-Oh card in there.
Sometimes the decks don't have the right amount of.
You are encouraged to cheat, but you cannot lie.
The decks
There's like
don't
a-
have the correct amount of cards.
There's an
You have
another reverse
these.
card.
God.
Reverse.
Uno reverse, then you have to. Yeah, God.
Yes.
Damn.
oh,
Go fish, but it's with tarot cards.
Yeah.
you've been sitting here playing Go Fish for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Julius
I
is just
think-
like,
It seemed like it would have been a couple of hours. Asta might have actually, PK, are you okay?
I'm good. I'm trying not to lose my mind.
When we realized it was going to be, like, longer than an hour, Asta might have actually stepped out and, if nothing else, for a little bit, just...
Not to deal with Go Fish, apparently.
Not to deal with, this is a semi-collapsed tunnel, and we've been out of the sunlight for several hours, and we probably would have encouraged Julius, hey, no, come on, disguise back up.
I mean, we're kind of stuck in here. Do I really need it?
As 2 hours starts to come to a close, finally, Irene feels a little blip that is Snowball coming back into her
Range.
awareness, her range.
PK's
Is
face
she
journey.
good?
She's alive.
That's good. Irene will ask how she's been.
You get a well.
Oh my god.
She pauses for a second. And she tells you the tunnel, like it's more like images than like direct words. She's kind of trotting her way back to the collapsed wall. The tunnel goes on for a while. It does seem to go underneath multiple city blocks. The length of which she walks is a while. And then she hit a staircase, which she then promptly trotted herself up. And and unlike the staircase that you all walk down, which is pretty much just a straight shot down, this one's kind of back and forth a little bit to like take up a little less room. It's like fairly compact. And she trotted up that for a while. Um, and then she reached the top, and it sort of opened up very rapidly. Well, not quite actually. She reached the top, and she was in a very small little sort of crevice area that she kind of poked around for a second. And it seemed like she almost kind of like thought she hit a dead end. But with that perception check, she manages to find sort of a thin enough opening which looks like a normal size sort of humanoid could fit in if they're kind of going like a sideways slide, right? Which, being a small kitten, a small cat, she is able to fit through. Her head can fit through, so the rest of her body can fit through.
Cats.
Cats.
Cats are
And-
weird.
Cat.
She made her way through this small little opening, which ended in what looked like a tapestry, like a thin sort of delicate curtain, almost less than a tapestry, like a chiffon sort of long trailing piece of fabric.
Did she rip it up?
No, she just pushed past it.
She's a good kitty. Why would you accuse her of ever ripping up curtains or anything of the sort?
Julius's house.
Climbing up on.
Had to do a lot of mending before.
She got that out before she left Julius's house.
It's fine. She's a perfect cat.
Mm-hmm.
She had
He's never
passed
done
through
anything wrong.
the chiffon curtain, and this is where it had opened up into this sort of very large cavernous room. The chiffon, that one bit of chiffon drapery had not been the only one. It had hung in a couple of other places too, sort of creating this it is not a welcoming feeling, but it is lived. She also shows you images, very cushioned bedroll, a dining table with a couple of chairs, a fire pit that has a small opening that sort of that is like carved into the cavern side and you don't know where it opens up from. And two figures. A well-trimmed, well-armed black tabaxi, and what looks like a pale-skinned teenager.
That's what I thought you were gonna fucking say. You
Yeah,
stupid fucking
same.
horse. Sorry.
The cat got more information than we did.
But it seems like in that moment, with that 8 stealth roll,
Yep.
first the teenager noticed her, and the teenager was quite a distance away on the other side of the cavern. So you kind of get a sort of vague appearance of this teenager, very pale-skinned, this pile of long, and I mean very long, they were sort of sitting at the dining table with a ponytail that starts roughly at the top of their head like this, and then flows down and piles on the floor in a sort of gentle shift, clearly not meant to be seen in. No windows in the cavern.
Sorry.
What looks like slight golden freckles across their face and most of their body. They had noticed Snowball first, and then in that next second, the black tabaxi had noticed Snowball. You then get, it seems as if Snowball skips over a small period of time to preserve her own dignity. And it seems like this is the majority of the reason she took so long.
God.
Followed by an escape back through the small area, back down into the tunnel, and then originally sprinting down to the tunnel to you before noticing she was not followed, and then just slowly making.
Alrighty. As soon as Snowball is within range for Irene to poof her back into her safe little void where she can be, not in the dirt and, not walking around for a little bit, she will do so. And then she'll say, all right, time to go. Let's go.
Okay.
Parker, what color was that hair of the teenager?
Like very golden, like unnaturally so.
Does
Nathaniel is Rapunzel confirmed!
Rapunzel!
Rapunzel.
Can't believe my half sibling is Rapunzel.
I can't believe Parker made a Rapunzel. But put them in the basement instead of a tower.
Can't use your hand this time!
Oh my god, this is fucking amazing.
But does this
Will
make
say
this
one
makes
other-
Walsh Mother Gothel? Sorry.
one other detail you would have noted that Snowball would have noticed as part of her little excised little section she does not tell you much about. She does mention she had spotted what looked like very thin but robust sort of silver jewelry around Daniel's wrists.
Silver jewelry around
So-
their wrists or the...
Yes.
Oh.
So we're gonna
You
murder
presume-
Walsh.
You presume
Right.
this is Ophaniel at least.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
We're gonna do some killing.
No, Irene doesn't say any of this immediately. She just says, all right, it's time to go. We're going right now. And we are going to
Okay.
leave, I presume.
Sure. Julius is gonna put on his disguise, though, again. Excuse me.
And Irene is going to wait until we are safely back. I'm assuming we're going back to Julius's house.
You could also meet up with Nagi and Exo.
Yes.
So, Irene is going to wait until we were back in Julius's home, and then she is going to recount everything that Snowball told her. With particular emphasis on... Irene doesn't mention that there's like an excised part of that thing. She preserves Snowball's dignity too. She's just like, and then Snowball left. So, but she does mention robust silver jewelry and
Sounds
Yeah, I
a lot
say
like
that
handcuffs.
there's things that you can do that aren't handcuffs.
I'm saying
Yes.
it sounds a lot different.
it's in any case not good per se. They do have very long,
No.
very, very long.
We'll point out as well that Snowball recounts the Black Tabaxi as being fairly aggressive towards her.
Yeah, I believe
Fairly
it.
quick and fairly good with a blade.
The bodyguard is fast and good at blades, and crucially not too fond of your old Snowball there. So we'll have to perhaps keep. Once we're back,
clearly
Julie's out.
Clearly he has no taste, Asta kind of said. And it's half-hearted because you can sort of watch him. I think he's twisting the cord of the medallion around his neck until it kind of pulls out in his fingers.
Yeah, Julius doesn't seem too pleased himself.
Irene lets Snowball back out of her void once we're in Julius's house and says, "Have a little bit of fun now, dear," and it ignores any comments Julius might make about this. But yeah. If Irene wasn't ready to kill motherfuckers just by talking about politics earlier, Irene is ready to kill a motherfucker now.
Yeah.
We're doing so much murder.
Oops, I'll murder.
Now, we could be
Right.
smart about this, or we could kill that rat-ass motherfucker.
Yeah, like, we could make good decisions and follow our plans and, like, approach things from a logical way, or consider we could kill him and we could make it hurt.
Yeah. That's an option.
What
That's
we
one
could.
option Julius wants, honestly. If he's
Gave me
being
a fucked
honest.
up little man.
This fucked up little man is about to get more fucked up if I have anything to say about him, Parker.
Man's getting curved.
I'm gonna burn his face off
You
with
are
acid.
walking
This
towards
man
guns.
doesn't need, like, his jaw, does he?
What?
Doesn't need all of his limbs.
No, I don't think he needs his limbs.
Does Nagi recount everything Nagi and Excel?
Is Nagi there? I thought she was
Yeah,
doing
you
that
can-
before
yes,
Nagi had got there. Okay. Yeah, Nagi will tell them everything they encountered and saw and read, and mention them the cipher. And
Ixali mentions that in the False Bottom there were letters in cipher. There was a small white medallion with a raised carving, though they didn't get a good chance to look at it. And then a small vial of some sort of liquid. They were unable to identify it at the time.
Is there anything from those, like, descriptions that would make Julius think of something, like, he remembers?
The finger paintings.
Were those his?
would Nagi have seen a little? Would Nagi have seen a little tiefling in the finger paintings?
Yep.
Aw.
Julius kind of, when you mentioned the finger paintings, just kind of... I can't believe she kept those.
I mean, she's your mom. She loves you, right?
I would hope so.
Ixalia does mention that she looked tired, but she looked healthy. Possibly a bit sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Julius would necessarily say anything but that. He'd kind of just have, like, one of those silent face journeys, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Very much a little bit sad. Mans doesn't like thinking about his mom sad.
Master kind of some deep breaths, forcing himself to sort of stop tensing and loosening and right. So if that guard spots Snowball again, he's gonna recognize.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think you can sketch roughly what Snowball described?
Oh, yes, of course, dear.
Thank you.
Irene will sketch the various locations that and individuals that Snowball described and gave her images of.
Mhm. Make me a. What tool proficiencies do you have?
What tool proficiencies? I've got painter's supplies.
Okay, make me a painter's tool check.
I don't know what the ability attribute for that is.
Do me.
Isn't it Dex or something?
I mean,
But
since this
Dex
is going from memory of what Snowball gave you.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'll let you do intelligence for this one.
Intelligent. Parker, you are a kind and generous soul. I adore you with every part of my heart. That was
Natural
so
one.
kind of you. So what's that going to be? Plus 8? Okay, do good. 20, dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You are able to effectively create those images. Those of you that have seen Inway before, Othaniel's features do have some resemblance towards her, though not a perfect copy by any measure at all. They are also extremely androgynous. Like,
Good for them.
I mean,
Yeah, good for them.
I mean a level of like even biological androgyny.
Good for them.
I support them. They're living the dream.
To this is no meaning of I will not actually say that because that's relevant to a different thing. That's spoilers.
Oh.
They are extremely androgynous, even with the long hair and some of the features resembling their mother, though again, what's not their mother is probably
Yeah.
you haven't
Don't say it.
you haven't gotten to look at Walsh yet, so you don't fully know, but
Well, Julius could probably.
Has Granny...
Julia saw Walsh once.
Yeah.
Sure.
But does...
Granny has not gotten an up close look at Walsh.
Okay. I was
And
gonna
she
ask,
cared
did
if she
did
had.
Granny end up drawing the picture of Othaniel?
Yes. Okay,
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Julius
Granny
is gonna
would've
take a
drawn
look-see.
the places, Othaniel, and the bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Julius will take a look-see. See what he can pick from that. Put it to memory.
Right. Okay.
They do look fairly young. They are certainly not as old as Julius. Seems about right to be about a decade behind, although
Yeah. Master looks.
that's honestly no. In some ways, they still
Oh.
have a lot of their sort of, like baby fat face.
Yeah, they got baby face.
They're still
Yeah.
kind of baby face.
They're like 16, 17.
16, 17, but kind of a young 16, 17.
Hmm.
Aw.
I think
That one, Chiefs.
the one thing I will mention that anyone who's kind of looking at Asta, he's holding himself very straight, but there's little bits of flickers. Like you sort of notice little. I think it's the freckles kind of flick in and out of. And his eyes darken a little bit, and he's kind of forcing himself to. But I'll wait till PK gets back.
No, PK's tapping out.
Ah, okay. I did not see that
Brain soup.
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have.
You all do technically have the rest of the evening. You do. It is only about 3:34. I will
I,
let
as
you.
Joe, I'm gonna want to sit Amy down and chat about this and figure out if we still, because we
I-
still should do the sensible plan.
What I will let you do is I will let you say that the rest of the evening is taken as group planning and plotting.
Yeah.
So that way there
Because-
is still in time repercussions for taking that time.
And Asta is gonna fill Nagi in on that the tunnel we were investigating, there is a rock slide that covered it. It looked like it was deliberate. You or Aki might be able to do something with it in a way that we couldn't. But it is probably now going to be watched because...
All right.
Okay.
I think I will probably call session there
Okay.
Yeah.
with the knowledge that that evening into that night is going to be group planning.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one more day down until the Harvest Festival.
Day 7.
Yeah.
You have 6 days left.
Yep.
So I'm going to send a message into the Pope Fight channel.
There's a
Silent
Pope Fight
screaming.
Shh.
Yeah, we have a soap fight.
Where's the priest channel?
We went
All
behind your
right.
backs.
Have fun.
Oh no.
with
Okay, I'm
your
gonna.
Pope Fight.
Oh god. Okay, I'm stopping.